whoa, we're live. We're doing a show. Oh, and Steve's dead. Bye, everyone.
You just hung up from. Okay. You hang up from the Discord call. Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, welcome to the Hop.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you wanted to go back and start doing Launchpad questions again?
Right. I almost forgot.
I'm gonna let you choose because you were the one who wanted to do it again.
I think this would be most useful if I put it to an RNG real quick. So stall for just 1 second.
Okay, we're not actually live yet. Wait, we gotta stall. Yes, we're live.
You know what? I'll just say like 10 because there's at least 10 in there. So let me put it into an RNG. I do have one ready.
Yeah.
And all right. So I think I have it ready now. You ready?
Oh wait, yeah, I haven't done the announcements in Blue Sky in the Discord. I have them ready. I just don't fucking post. Okay. What is our Launchpad question?
Okay. What are you starting to like more as you grow older? And I feel like this one might have been covered before, but I feel like we have different answers now.
The urge to say pussy.
Whose show is it? Like, this is... It's not like you have to give a different answer than that. Sure.
Well, here, I'll think a little bit more because now my mind is on pussy like it should be. So you can go first while I try to think of something else.
If you get to go unnervingly explicit, I get to go a little bit dark and safe myself. I don't think on a serious note, I don't think I make my mental health issues any secret on this show, and I think that is alleviated over the years. But on a note that is, I think, a little bit more interesting for this, subtle soundtracks, I think, because I grew up liking really big bombastic like John Williams or Alan Silvestri ones, but now ones that are just like a little bit more low tone with a little bit more piano, soft strings, maybe a flute in there that like you could play while you work on something else but not focus too much on it, and it blends in, as like the equivalent of lo-fi. I'm starting to like that more, especially with Alexander Desplat. So like the New Moon score and like Little Women and The Imitation Game. I love that one. Yeah.
I don't know for me. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm a solved case. I like what I like. What do I like more now that I'm older?
Also, you're in your mid-20s. That is going to change. Like, where when it comes to adults, we're babies.
I'm not really sure what I've disliked before, and now I like it.
Yeah.
There's things that I hate less, but I wouldn't say I like them more.
I think that qualifies. I want to count that.
I don't think it does, because it's like I still hate fucking lettuce. I hate it to my core, but it isn't as horrible as it has been to where like I am repulsed by it being in the same room as me.
Okay, wait, sorry. If ones like that count, I'm gonna give a second answer as well. Wireless headphone. Yeah, I used to fucking loathe the idea. Now it's just a little annoying.
Yeah, no, I want to get the new Sony headphones.
They're probably great. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I've seen multiple reviews on them and people who like properly test headphones. And one of the marketing things is they have the best active noise canceling of any headphone on the market. And everyone who's independently tested is like, yeah, it does. And I really want that. I need it.
So like
they are like $400 though, so I will not be getting them anytime soon.
So past a certain point, like if you're using active noise canceling, because I think you have much more experience with it than I do. Like I've had it before, but it's been in like smaller doses. So I'm curious, like if you're in a particularly noise heavy environment and it's compensating for it, is it just that you feel this sort of like isolating silence, or does it like compensate with like, I don't know, something resembling a brown noise on top of it?
No, if it gets rid of it all, which it rarely does, it would just be silent. Most of the time, so it doesn't work as well for certain frequencies, like the very high and the very low rumbles. It's not as good in my experience. It's
If they
mostly that
shake the
like
headphones
middle
off your
range.
head, then
Yeah.
it can only do so much. Yeah.
Um, but when I have had like better noise canceling versus lower, you can tell that like, oh, this is getting rid of some of the frequencies. Like if I fully put my headphones on right now and use active noise canceling, I have an air conditioner going behind me, and all I hear is like a kind of higher end whir to it.
Hmm.
Um, and then when I take my headphones off, it's like, oh damn, that shit's loud. Um, but
Wow.
yeah.
Is there any case of like, oh, like it, whatever the noise that it is that's being canceled, like it's quieter and more subdued in the headphones, but you realize it actually like sounds worse as a sound under that circumstance? Like, maybe it like blocks out certain parts of it that without the headphones drown out like this sharp twang that's in it. Maybe.
Not usually.
Okay.
Like there's a few things that's like if it has like a really high pitched something and now all I'm hearing is the really high pitched thing, yeah, but that's not very often.
Okay. Yeah, that's really all I had to wonder about
All
that.
right. So
You seem like you got a passionate one up top, though, in terms of topics today.
yeah, so there is I'm gonna talk about the initiative that is the first thing in our topics list in our title today, which is the Stop Killing Games initiative. And then I'm gonna
You're
talk
also much
about
more
some
qualified to
drama
speak on it than I am.
surrounding it. That I think is bullshit, and I feel like I knew this about this person before anyone else, and I'm
I had a
vindicated.
feeling you were gonna. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I knew it. Anyway, so the Stop Killing Games initiative.
Go off, Queen.
It is an initiative currently in the EU. I'm not sure all of their structure or anything, but it's like a petition where if they get enough signatures, it goes in front of European equivalent of like Parliament or whatever. I'm not sure their exact structure or their names, but it goes in front of the courts, whatever, the lawmakers. And the Stop Killing Games initiative is to make it so that game publishers have to leave a game in a functional state before they stop support of it. And mostly that means single player games that have an online like DRM or something. This was most known for when the Crew game went down. It's a single player game,
Yeah.
and they just cut the servers off, and now no one can play the Crew. Can't play it unless you mod it. I think there's some mod restoration project. I really
Also-
liked the Crew. It's not something I necessarily want to go back to, so I'm not as well versed in it.
Something I'm curious about specifically with the Crew example. So, I know that there's ways to mod games that obviously are like, who cares, and then there's ones that are technically illegal, like adjacent to piracy, like for instance if you're adding DLC that you don't own. But but with the Crew, like if the live service went down that you're supposed to be required to use, and then you mod it so that you don't have to use that, but it is still a legitimate copy, does that fall under piracy, or does that fall under any law, or what?
It's an unanswered question. I believe it is not. But I'm sure there's arguments that someone could make. It's not ever gone to court, so we don't know the answer to that. That's one of the worst things about law is you don't have an answer until someone sues.
Yeah.
Until someone goes to court over it. But music is a touch loud. Okay, turning that down.
Thanks for letting us know, Liz.
But yeah, so the Stop Killing Games initiative, first and foremost, is saying like, hey, don't just make games unplayable. And then it goes on to not just single player games that are tied to online services, it goes to multiplayer games, things of that nature, where they're not saying that you have to forever support the servers. That isn't in their mission statement. All they want is to allow the community, the player base, to either host it themselves or give them an option to start playing it in a single player mode if they wanted to go that route. But like, leave it somehow functional. You can still boot it up, you can still make a match, do something, whether that's give the server files to the community or something else.
Mhm.
um and
I have some thoughts on that in a second, by the way.
yeah, I will say there are examples of this where right now you can't get like Counter-Strike Global Offensive anymore. It has been superseded by Counter-Strike 2. And Valve
Right.
just lets people still have that game, still have the servers and run those servers, while not supporting that game at all anymore. So there is a way to do it. It's not this hypothetical of, oh, it would be so nice if it was a utopia. It's like, no, this happens. We do it. Just certain
Yeah.
publishers don't want to do it.
I
Um,
um
mhm.
I do want to say a specific example that's a little less popular that I recently became aware of, and feel free anybody to correct me, because this is like just something I found out from a stray Reddit thread, from other people who happen to know more about this than me. Uh, a game that I used to play for a little while, past its user-led resurgence, City of Heroes. I've talked to you about a
Mhm.
few times. It's been at least a couple years since I've last touched it, but I do remember it being a very fun experience. Though it does give an antivirus false positive to most people, unfortunately, when installing it, but it's widely reputable. Um, I found out within the past couple weeks that the original either developers or publishers, I forget the name, but they gave the green light to the Homecoming servers after after the fact of Homecoming having started and become an established thing that people were using. Yeah, they just went, okay, fucking sure, go ahead. When according to these people who are talking about it, that same publisher does not commonly do that. You know, I mean, most publishers don't, but like, especially they have been like really finger waggy about like people doing this sort of thing and hosting their own. But they might fuck it for this one, which fascinating choice. I don't know why they made it, but I do like when that happens, because when I did play it, it felt as robust as any, first party officially licensed server of anything I've ever played. Yeah.
Yeah. And so essentially, the Stop Killing Games initiative is to have that kind of support as a requirement. Like, you can give out those servers, just let them play. If you don't want to support the game anymore, that's fine. Just leave them a way to play a game. That's the crux of it. It also delves into some European law. There's a couple things in the European law that's like, oh, I think this fits this definition of like an unfair contract, because a lot of the license agreements are, you don't own this game, we can take it back whenever we want, we're just licensing it to you. And they're like, this is an unfair contract on every consumer, so it should be illegal to do, in the European
Artifact
Union.
of the age of streaming, of course, because I mean that's a whole other crock of shit when it comes
Yeah.
to movie owning. Yeah.
um So that's, in a nutshell, the Stop Killing Games initiative. If you want, go to its pages. If you're a European Union citizen, you can go and sign the petition. It still needs some. It's not quite there to 1 million yet. But it has been getting a resurgence in people signing it, because they put out a video when they thought that the initiative was going to die, it wasn't going to get there. They're like, hey, as a last push, we're going to talk about all these things we were just being the bigger person on and not getting into drama. um do, have you heard any of this at all, or am I your intro to this
I
drama?
so I okay. What I have heard feels like a summary of the whole picture, but I also can't confirm that like I kept finding out there was more to find out, so I don't know if I found the end of the line. But yeah, as a moderate pirate software fan, the streamer, because these are cross platforms, pirate software. Yeah, I did find out about this, and I thought this was weirdly uncharacteristic, and I want you to go into detail on it more than I would,
Okay.
because I think you got better details.
So,
Yeah.
Pirate Software, for those who don't know, Twitch streamer, YouTuber, the fairly big personality. And I want to start by saying I've always disliked him. I think he always sounded like a pompous ass. I always felt like he was better than everyone else. I just couldn't prove it until now. I also
I
didn't
just
care.
thought he had a stoic voice, but he was giving really good creative advice on most fronts until this specific matter where it's like, oh yeah, he's really shitting the brick when it comes to,
Yeah,
you
so
know.
he watched the initial video about the Stop Killing Games initiative made by the person who put it through, and instead of like actually listening and making points against it, he's like, "This is all shit. It's bullshit. I hate this. Fuck this guy." Just the most baby response to anything you disagree with ever. Threw a temper tantrum about it.
Again, uncharacteristic and very fucking
It
weird.
is, I want to say, not uncharacteristic because there's more things I've learned about him since.
Oh,
It is
okay. Well,
not
okay, sorry.
uncharacteristic of
My
him.
my view of him has been, I should say, limited to like his shorts. So I have been seeing a highlight reel, and so that's not fair of me to say. So thank you for crediting
Yeah.
that. But yeah.
Um, since we're on that now, um, this is a fucking baby of a man. And there have been multiple times where, one, apparently he's cheated at puzzle games to make himself look smarter on stream. There's
Ew.
accusation of that, so that's funny. But
Okay.
um, the main thing that I had heard of was and saw the footage of was he was in a raid in World of Warcraft, and something happened where a really powerful I don't know the actual relationship with this character, but like it's a non-aggressive character unless you attack him kind of deal. Got aggravated and like wiped out half of the raiding party. Not a good thing. Apparently set them back hours and hours, and he was pissed that this happened. He lost a lot of materials, and on stream he said, "Whoever did that's an idiot. I'm gonna find who did that. I'm gonna look in the video, see who did it, and ban them from the raid because you have to be better than that." And then he looked, and it was him. And his response was not, "Oh, I'm fucking stupid. I overreacted." It was, "Oh, well, no, it's actually the right decision that I did that." He completely said he was not at fault, and just took no accountability for this, even though he was shitting on. And the raid party, by the way, was his viewership. It was people who watched him. So he was shitting on people who watched him. And then the moment it was like, "No, you actually did it," takes no accountability. Says it was actually super smart of him to do because he's super smart. But not, a few minutes earlier was threatening to ban somebody and all of that. So kind of a mark against the character, but maybe that's a bad day. Maybe he had a better day when he DMCA'd an indie creator for no reason on Steam. So this indie creator put out a game that was a parody mocking streamers and all of the controversies that's happened with them. And one of the streamers happened to be mocked was Pirate Software, and in a video that this developer put out, it's not in the actual game, but they put out a video where they put actual clips of his voice over the game and posted that to Reddit. Pirate Software saw that, thought that that was just actually in the game without checking, and DMCA'd the indie creator. And then when he was corrected, and it's like, "No, your voice isn't actually in the game. That was just a stupid post on Reddit," doubled down and said he was going to sue.
God fucking damn it. Okay.
So yeah, not uncharacteristic at all of this man to pitch a fucking hissy fit over nothing.
I should not form opinions on streamers when I don't watch streams. I watch highlights of streams. I'm scared now because it's like there's other, he's not the only one that I follow that I think has pretty good takes. And now I'm like, fuck, what did they say in the other 45 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah, and like a few developers, I watched a video this morning about him from a person who helped work on Helldivers 2. And he was like, this man doesn't know anything. He's talking about the Stop Killing Games initiative. He's just blatantly incorrect. In a video that the person who made the initiative put out, he put in that like he was watching a video where in the video it explicitly says Stop Killing Games initiative does not want publishers to constantly in perpetuity maintain a game. That is not their purpose. And then a couple seconds later, Pirate Software says, "Oh, that's what he's saying," and it's like, no, that's actually exactly the opposite of what I just said. So he has no shame, has no ability to say that he's wrong, and just is mad for no fucking reason over things that are beneficial to consumers. So
Yeah.
I just want to
it's
say,
like,
I fucking knew it.
yeah, it's just
Trust me. Don't never doubt me again.
yeah, because whatever. But I the reason it caught me off guard so much, because there's like other creators where I'm like, fuck, like it's really disappointing and frustrating and anger inducing depending on how bad the fucking take was. But like not that surprising because like I don't know, maybe they were more comedy focused. But with him, yeah, that's just turned out to be like a lot of hypocrisy because like a bunch of what I know him for from those highlights is like him being super pro indie, pro consumer, pro, like I mean really good at like breaking down the mechanisms of creativity and how to motivate yourself and not letting big publishers hold you back and shit like that, and sometimes giving business advice that I can't attest to how good or bad it is, but like not in depth, just like little tips of like apparently potholes people fall into, and so it's like that's why this was especially surprising to me. But yeah, anyway, confident
Yeah.
talking streamer has hypocritical takes and fucking shits the bed. Not that surprising,
And
unfortunately.
it is
but
just such a shitter. Apparently, like the World of Warcraft one isn't the only time he's been a shithead in that game for no reason. I have
Mm.
not brought that up before, despite knowing it, because it's like, who gives a shit if you're an asshole in World of Warcraft? Like, whatever.
Mm.
But yeah, the fact that he's threatened to sue an indie creator on false premises, um, and is now say like not only dislikes the Stop Killing Games initiative, but has said that he is going to get people to not sign it. Like he's going to actively work against this initiative that he doesn't understand.
Yeah, I mean, but support it, sign it, please. Go if we have do we
Yeah.
have something in the description for Stop Killing Games?
I mean, you could just look up Stop Killing Games. It's everywhere right now. I don't
I'm gonna put the link
think
in the
my
center.
channel is allowed to put a link in the description. So
Let me here we go. StopKillingGames.com at least. I'll yeah. So the petition's
yeah.
here. So I'll put it in the Discord server. You can find it at mrsashley.gay. I've put in it's StopKillingGames.com. www. So if you want to type it yourself, feel free. We just lost half our viewers, but that's okay. Anyway.
All right. So yeah, I feel vindicated.
You're always right. All hail the Order of the Ashley.
I am never wrong. My vibe checks are immaculate.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Stop Killing Games. That's yeah.
Yeah, God, I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say about it. I can't remember it now.
I didn't realize until like just now because I was like so focused on the Stop Killing Games part that I'm surprised by the second entry in the title.
Why are you
so I'm
surprised?
I'm not like not surprised as in like, but surprised as in like that you have something to say about it. That's really it. Yeah.
Okay, so for those just listening, the second thing in the title is Nebula, which is
streaming service?
it's a streaming service, and I think it's like I don't exactly know its structure, but like a lot of YouTubers and stuff are on there, and you get either first access or like extended versions
Yeah,
that
and
are ad
it's
free.
video essayists, it's educational YouTubers. Yeah, I think it's like it's mostly, if I'm getting the right one, it's mostly educational stuff, right?
Yeah, it's mostly like essayists from what I've seen so far.
Trying to think. No,
The
the
big
other one.
ones that I like on there are going to be Game Maker's Toolkit and Extra Credits.
Hmm,
Those are going to be the big ones. I mean, also like Legal Eagle's on there, and I love Legal Eagle, but
he's definitely
um,
educational. We'll give a point there.
yeah.
So I'm just trying to
Let's
think because
see
there's like
who else is on here. Um,
Curiosity Stream was the mainly educational one. I was trying to like think of the name.
yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily say this is fully educational, but it's a lot of
yeah,
essayists.
yeah. And SES is a hit and
Nile
miss.
Red is on Nebula apparently.
I actually I want to ask then a question about, so if you've seen a lot of Nebula or at least the library, I am a person who's been a fan of video essays for a while. But I've noticed in the past like year or two, like there's been a much bigger than normal turn towards cynical like video essays that say like, oh, this thing is going to shit or ruining everything, blah 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 blah. And not like the anti-woke ones that we've already talked about that I like, that that I don't watch anymore. But like I don't want to say who because I don't think they're doing a bad thing and I don't want to be like shitting on somebody, but yeah, basically people leaning like a lot heavier on just that something is ruining the whole landscape of something. And I want to know if that's something that's like really leaned on in Nebula video essays or not.
I have not watched a lot, but knowing the creators that are on there, no.
Okay.
The main ones I've watched so far, there's Liam Triforce, who does a lot of gaming stuff, a lot of retrospectives on games. There's Polyphonic, which does a lot more about diving into music. And it's just like it's talking about what makes these things cool, or maybe like some shortcomings of them, but not in a like negative way. Um, the only one that's talking about negative stuff that I've seen is probably Legal Eagle, but like, how are you not gonna
Like
like
I'm
that?
not
That's the
I'm not
thing
gonna
right
hold him
now.
I'm
I'm
not
not
gonna
gonna
hold
hold
him
them
to that.
accountable for that.
Yeah, no, that would be remotely unfair. Also, I want to say one that I don't know if he's on Nebula or not, but he definitely could be. One that is an example of someone who's not focusing on a bunch of cynical shit that he doesn't have to. By the way, AI has become a massive target of a bunch of those, and like, yeah, fuck AI, but also like, please talk about something else eventually. Annie Austin has been covering a lot of good stuff. He 7 months ago he did one on do the Grand Theft Auto power lines connect to anything, and he did one on
Oh
like
yeah.
I think the Morrowind rivers and shit, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
I
This is great.
don't think they're on Nebula. The
Okay.
one I thought you were gonna say is Cinema Wins, which is on Nebula.
Oh, I love that one. I can't believe I forgot. Yeah, I love Cinema Wins so much.
I'm
I
trying to
like that he's
look
also said
at.
he covers movies he doesn't like sometimes just to find the merits in them. And like he didn't say which ones, but like yeah, just I love that, and I love that he's on there. I love that he gets the yeah
Um,
uncensored versions of things.
yeah. Let's see what else is on here. I mean, yeah, extra credits. I fucking love them. I love their entire history, which is also another one of their channels, Extra History. Um,
Mm.
I mean, they just go over extra credits goes over like games stuffs, trying to be a bit educational, talking about like how randomness works and how it's used, mind games within games that aren't like coded in, but um, let's see what have they posted
Oh,
recently.
Philosophy Tube is on there. I guess that's not too
Yeah.
surprising. I just haven't heard of them on it. But yeah, I like
Let's
Philosophy Tube. I haven't seen them in a while, but I have liked what I've seen. Hmm.
they go over like apparently a topic they went over was why is gaming lonely now, how Genshin sucks you in, turning ideas into games. They go over a lot of stuff like that. Then extra history is just actually going over history shit, which I think might be their bigger push right now. Extra credits has kind of gone to the wayside for extra history, which kind of makes me sad, but I like extra history. They recently
Something that I'm
did a series about the history of cats,
like the musical or the creature.
the creature.
Fun. I like that. Um, but something regarding games specifically that I'm curious about with you. Um, like, do you find yourself ever visiting dead games? Because I've been seeing people make more videos on that recently of like, that they visited. I don't watch a lot of them, but the concept is interesting to me.
I
Excuse me.
mean, I never played a lot of games that would end up being dead,
Mm,
so there's not really much for me to revisit.
fair. Like, because I think it's for a lot of like online games that like still have maybe like functional, you can go places for some reason. Either the servers are still online or there's like files you can go into. Anyway, but yeah, we diverged from History of Cats, which I think is frankly more interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember many games because I played a lot of single player or like local multiplayer games. So I just don't tend to go into those like big MMOs or whatever that can end up being dead.
When you were younger, like, did you prioritize console games or PC games? Because now it feels like you would probably be on PC more, but
Yeah, I was very much a console gamer when I was growing up. We didn't have like the money to do a whole PC setup. So
mm,
I had like a GameCube and shit like that. Um, and I'm more so towards PC now just because like it's easier to connect with everybody I play with. Most of the people I know aren't on console, so
mm.
I'm not on console. Um, and if Microsoft was a better company, I would probably want to actually get an Xbox again at some point, but terrible, terrible company. I actually need to cancel my Game Pass subscription. I keep forgetting to do that.
Yeah, fuck Microsoft. But I at least in like for my personal life, most of the people who I've known who who are primarily console gamers for some reason do not share a lot of like other stuff like in like basically I don't tend to share a lot in common with people who predominantly play on console for some reason, and I don't know why that is. Um, it's not like
Because
a
most
complaint
people
that I
that
have.
play
I'm
on
just curious
console
about it.
play higher skill first person shooters that you don't play.
That is a very good point.
They play different
I
games
think
than
you
you.
open and shut.
Open and shut. They play different games. You're not even really that much of a gamer. So
I'm
it's
not. That's
like
true.
you
But
share
like
more in
I
common
know,
with PC gamers because like there's other
right?
shit to do on a PC.
That's fair. Also, so this is based on a very limited pool of judgment, but like I have noticed that more often the people that I know who play on consoles are a lot bigger sports fans than the ones
Yeah, sports
who play
games
on
definitely
PC.
do go hard on console.
Yeah, most of the people who like for instance I knew in high school that were gamers, like cuz that's the last time I talked to a lot of people IRL about gaming. It's like it doesn't really come up in adult conversation outside of like if I'm already online with somebody. Um but yeah, it's like they would play like sports games and they would like they got into sports and games were an extension of that and that's about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think growing up with Nintendo made it a bit different for me because like the games were never like I didn't play fucking Madden on GameCube. I played fucking Mario and Pikmin because those were the two games on that console.
Yeah, I mean, like fucking they'll cover bases. Yeah, I remember I had a Wii, and I remember that like at a flea market we got a copy of Mario and the Thousand Year Door for GameCube, and we found like a GameCube controller that could plug into the Wii. I'm pretty sure it just had the ports for the GameCube controllers anyway.
Yeah.
And and we found out that like the controller, like the left analog stick, permanently, ruthlessly pushed to the left, like just the entire time. There was no, so I could get into like the main walking area at the very start and no further, and then we just like forgot for 15 plus years to get another controller, so I never ended up playing it. But yeah, we just had a nice pretty, Mario and the Thousand Year Door, like little box that was on the shelf, and it was a nice little piece of art.
Imagine the difference in your gaming life if you had a decent controller.
If it was just the
Jesus.
controller, the controller, it might have been just like dust we needed to blow out of it. I don't think we still have it. It might be buried somewhere. But yeah, we paid, I don't know, $5 for it. So like, so it's like we're like, okay, that's just an unsolved problem, perhaps. Or we'll solve it, and then like that kept getting pushed back and back. But yeah.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. I think I got the Game Boy Advance before I got a GameCube. So really my gaming, I think actually my gaming started on PC for sure, because we did have a computer. It just like nobody was making the big games for the computer at the time. So like whatever. And like obviously my parents didn't really know what was going on with it. So it was much easier to be like, oh hey, here's the game box. it plays a game. But I think I started with like some Pac-Man game on PC. I played a shit ton of that, and then I got a Game Boy Advance and then a GameCube, and then just like almost every single console that wasn't a PlayStation after that. I did have a PS3, but
like I remember, okay, so most of the gaming in my childhood was like we had so it started of course with like Windows XP computer with like the Galaxy pinball on there, and like the toaster game going through the alleys, the flying toaster, and like whatever other games on there that I don't remember as well as those two. And then from there, much later on, this was actually my first introduction to the internet. We had like little educational CDs that my dad found on sale of like, like Dora teaches typing or whatever, or like, the alphabet, something like that. And so I would play a lot of those. Don't remember a fucking lick of what happened in there. But I do remember that my sisters were playing a game on like DisneyChannel.com of like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. It was like the Tipton thing with the bellhop thing. And I'm like, oh, what disc is that? And they're like, oh no, it's on the internet. And I'm like, what? And then thankfully they didn't like this was like 2000, between 2005 and 7, and thankfully I don't even think they had a scope of like what was on the internet otherwise, but they didn't even give me a hint that there was anything else to the internet, thankfully.
The internet exists exclusively for the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody Flash game.
Well, as far as I knew, it was for DisneyChannel.com and maybe Nickelodeon.com, Nick.com, and that was the whole purpose of the internet. And libraries. I think I knew about that as well, but I didn't have literally any thought that anything else was on there. And though that led to the practice of, and this, it is. I feel like somebody who has a very small bulletproof vest, who it never gets shot outside of it, did not have as good luck as I had in the time when I was exploring the internet. And what I thought making a website was you type in something and it like .com, and then something appears and you just made a website. I was like that young, maybe 8 or 9 at the time that I was first thinking that.
With generative AI.
Stop. No. Stop. Anyway. But No, so I kept typing in names of what I thought might be Flash game websites. Which I didn't know were
That's a
Flash games at the time,
dangerous
but just game
game.
websites. And yes, it is a dangerous game, but it worked for like over a year or two. And past that is a story we can get to another time. It's not as bad as you think. It's just
Past
I don't
that
want
is for my therapist.
this past. There was like one time when it went wrong, and I'm like, now I know the power of this. I was like 11, but no. So like 15 fucking times I typed in stuff about like, oh, games. Like I knew about addicting games, board.com, games, whatever. And I just kept typing in game related stuff, and it kept working. And so I thought that this was just a really good way to, to explore things. Just finding games, and it worked Mr. Magoo levels of well for at least a year or two. Yeah. Don't let a kid do that, especially today. But that's what happened. I will say the first time that it went wrong, I'll just be brief on this because it wasn't like it went wrong, but like there's so many ways it could have gone so much worse. My sister, when she was going off to college, had a MacBook Pro that she was taking with her, and we were like playing with the MacBook Pro. This was about 2010, I want to say, in that same handful of years, and like we saw, it had the webcam toy thing where like you got to look like you're on a roller coaster. That. And so in the same rhythm of finding game websites by typing in somethinggame.com to that effect, I typed webcam.com. And about 2 seconds of seeing that, and I got more scared than I did at a horror movie. And I just ran out of the room, came back in, closed the laptop, shut it off. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm never talking about this again. Maybe I told like my sister 5 years later, but yeah.
I don't like the internet anymore.
I don't want I guess don't type that specifically in again, and nothing will at that point. Because I did still do the like gamesomething.com, and it continued not going wrong beyond the
Just
webcam
kept doing
one.
pairings of 2 words.
two or three. But yeah.
It all ended once you got to meet and spin.
Thankfully, by the time I found Meat Spin, I exactly knew what I was probably in for. But like I was a teenager at that point. But yeah. Anyway.
What the fuck are we talking about?
We were talking about history of games, and I just went off on a fucking ramble. That was fun, but yeah.
I
so
did
your
put
history with games.
A picture of the CD case for the Pac-Man Adventures in Time game. That's probably the earliest game I can remember playing.
That looks fucking rad.
Well, when did it come out? Maybe I'm not even... Pac-Man Adventures in Time.
Before that was Nebula. Thank you, Liz.
Oh yeah, this game came out in 2000. It probably is in contending... It's a contender for first game I ever played, this Pac-Man one.
Mm-hmm. By the way, quick note. Liz says the Disney Flash games were surprisingly good and entertaining. All of the ones that I can remember and more are still on the Flashpoint archives. If you want to go looking through those, still fully functional on there if you want to check them out. If you want to Google the Flashpoint archive, I'll put that in the Discord server as well. Yeah. But yeah, no, Pac-Man. So how far did you go with your Pac-Man love?
No, I still play Pac-Man every now and then. I still have the Championship Edition downloaded on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get here's the fucking... This is the worst quality image. Wait. Okay, there we go. I put into the Discord a screenshot of the Adventures in Time game. And this is the level that I remember I could never fucking figure out because it became 3D at that point. It is just you're playing Pac-Man and it looks 3D, but then it goes to like there's 2 levels and I'm like, fuck this, I can't do this, is impossible.
God, I remember the first time playing a 3D game when I was so used to Flash games and like the CD games, and it's like I felt like I was launching a NASA supercomputer and trying to run it on the family unit, and I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? Oh, this is cool as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I really should play another Pac-Man again. I wonder it wait, so since the Steam summer sale is happening, I'm gonna look up
Hmm.
Pac-Man. Let's see. Don't get Pac-Man Museum Plus. It's well, no, Museum Plus is fine. I for some reason I got it confused with the Tetris, Tetris one that came out recently.
One of these days,
Tetris Forever. That game's bullshit. I don't like that game.
one of these days, I'm gonna get my hands on a proper copy and way of playing the Incredibles game that was on this, like the tie-in game that was on CDs, the CD-ROM, and I'm gonna see what that was about. Because I remember in my house we had a fucking we had the manual for it, so the implication that the disc was somewhere, and presumably my dad got the disc at some point and just didn't tell anybody, and lost it. But I knew the manual, and so I read that shit over and over when I was like 7. Love
I
Incredibles.
definitely had the GameCube game.
Mm.
All I remember about it is you remember the scene in the movie where Dash puts a little thumbtack on the teacher's chair.
No way, that's in it?
Yeah, that's like a level or it's like at least a mini game. It's part of it, and you do it over and over again. And that's
It's
all I
fucking
remember
awesome.
about it. And I also remember about that. I didn't understand at all how to control it. It was a really weird angle you had to put the control stick at.
Oh no.
At least to a very young me, it was impossible to do sometimes.
That's one that we
It's
should cover
probably
on a
just
future
you
topic.
hold right and then you hold left, and I just couldn't picture it.
I would love it if we covered that on a thought bubble, that game, and a bunch of like ones like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, in talking about that,
I was just gonna say, do we want to cover that?
yeah, since we're getting into the very end of our episode, what we're gonna do going forward is a thought bubble episode, podcast episode is going to happen every other week. And on the off weeks, so starting next week, we will be doing on Twitch just like a regular game stream, a regular hangout, whatever game stream. I don't know what we're going to be playing next week. We'll figure that out at some point. But we're going to become the new Game Grumps, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's just we're significantly more gay because we got 2 of them that are.
Yeah, it's the gay Grumps.
It's the gay grumps. I love. The second
no
person
one's
of us
ever made
yeah.
that joke
Yeah.
before. It is a completely unique idea.
Right. We make it sound like it's a porn parody. The gay grump.
Hold up.
Wait, no. The porn parody would be the game grumps. No, that doesn't sound good at all.
Wait, I just looked up the gay grumps in Google, and the AI overview is like the phrase "the gay grumps" likely refers to the game grumps.
God, if only Danny was a little bit more gay, and by that.
What the fuck? So there's a Reddit post that says the grumps is hypocrisy on LGBT plus and queer baiting.
Oh.
And oh no, I can't find the little like the excerpt it gives from the post on Google just says various people in the office reportedly had no idea Ding Dong was gay. And it's like, who the fuck is Ding Dong? I don't remember Ding Dong.
Whose name was Ding Dong? Like, who picked that?
Yeah, I don't remember Ding Dong.
Anyway,
yeah, maybe they're homophobic, and we're gonna be worse.
I wonder. I wonder how much of the time we're gonna be ironic about it, just so that Twitch doesn't kick us off. We're gonna be, just really.
No, it's an Amazon-owned company. They're fine with it. It's not June anymore.
But oh god. Anyway, well, no, I'm saying that we would say homophobic things that we know are ironic, but so that the sort of Twitch will be okay with it. Listen, we're saying the homophobic thing. Yeah, but I wonder how much of the time it's going to be us playing games together, and how much of the time you're going to be playing games that I don't know how to play very well, but I'm going to be over your shoulder. We're going to be chatting alongside.
I'm presuming that's how it's gonna go.
Well,
Like
I don't think
99%
that's
of
going to
the
be it
time.
all the time. I think there's going to be a bunch of ones probably where it's like that tile one. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Tack?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. We'll do tack every now
Yeah.
and then.
Or like a game to that effect. I think like we will play stuff together. We're just going to play Cards Against Humanity eventually. We're going to shut the brain. We're gonna shut
Once
the
we run out of ideas, we'll play Cards Against Humanity. Sorry, Liz. I know you love that game.
when we're still playing when we're still doing all this at the age of 67, that we'll be like, okay, finally we're gonna get around to Cards Against Humanity, and
And
yeah,
then we
because
die before we play the first hand.
we die after the first round. I mean, would be the least dignified way to go, because we then have played a round.
See, I really like Super Fight instead of Cards Against Humanity at this point.
What's that
Super
about?
Fight. So I think it's made by the same people. Let me look.
Hmm.
Um, who the fuck? I don't know. It's in the same vein, but you basically like two people like make a character out of cards and then have to argue which one wins in a fight.
Oh, like, is that the debate one that you talked with me about, that you wanted to try with a bunch of people? Like
No, that's Die on This Hill.
I
This
can't wait
is
for that
Super
one.
Fight. Super Fight's a much older game.
Mm.
But it's like you have a character and then they have like modifiers. And the picture I'm seeing on Google right now is like Abraham Lincoln, but he has long metal claws that pop out of his hands. And then it's like your mom, but she's 6 inches tall. It's like, who would win in that fight?
Fuck. In my mind, I want to say Cards Against Humanity is still fun if it's comprised entirely, excuse me, if it's comprised entirely of stuff come up with past like the year 2020. Because anything that has come before then, I feel like most of it I have seen tens of thousands of times, but then because I've like played some games since then just because I was in a group that wanted to play it, and when it's like, oh, it's stuff that came up that was based on like, oh, I haven't seen these jokes before, the structure of the game still works, but then at that point it's basically just a homebrew version of apples to apples, but
I wonder
it's
how
designed for.
many new players that like have grown up like after the release of the original Cards Against Humanity start playing it and don't understand any of the jokes.
Oh my god, how much of it was topical? I think a lot of it was nostalgia based.
Okay, I can't just search KAH. I have to search Cards Against
Right.
Humanity.
That's probably a currency.
No, it's congenial adrenal hyperplasia.
Great. Awesome.
How old
Yeah.
is Cards Against Humanity? Let's see.
I do miss the feel though of like YouTube's Cards Against Humanity craze of like the mid 2010s. I wouldn't want to go back and watch it again because I'd get that same feeling of like just how I feel about the game at this point. But I loved the vibe of like, oh, this thing that is fresh to all of us, that is like understandable to everybody and has that shocking twang but still has the substance of like, just the interaction between everybody interpreting it, is like, because I feel like with most tabletop games that I've seen now, it's like, oh, there is a big gap between the stuff that I enjoy of the dynamic between people and the, oh, I'm trying to understand this game so that this doesn't become a clusterfuck of things that I don't understand happening that loses me. Because Cards Against Humanity,
Yeah.
say what you want about it, but it is what's the word? It's not, the word isn't diverse, but like kind of it is, but it's a versatile but very simple game.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of easy to get a grasp on, and ooh, you can say naughty stuff in the middle of not naughty stuff in there, and I want that again from a group that I like really care about. Yeah.
Yeah, and Liz, as she's saying in chat, does have a ridiculous collection of Cards Against Humanity cards. Like, picking it up is no easy feat.
It's
To
a room in
carry
your
all.
house.
It
Yeah.
is. I don't know exactly how big the box is, but it's a significant amount of paper.
I like
And
thinking
mhm,
of you guys having a library in your house where like you do have like shelves of books, but like for one of them you like push on the shelf a little bit and it like it just goes in and reveals like a hidden smaller library that is just full of an egregious amounts of collections of Cards Against Humanity packages.
there
Yeah.
is a room in the basement that I could absolutely see us like stocking with some shelves of like our card games and board games because I want to make it into a little theater. That's what I want to make that room into. I hope everyone
Mhm.
else agrees with that. And so I can do it.
Every home, every home that is capable, w- where it would not financially drain the people inside it, should have some kind of feeder. Which I know that
It's
really narrows it down.
it
But
I'm going to try to
yeah.
like explain how it's laid out. So it it is like it's a longer than it is wide thing, so that's why I like immediately I kind of thought theater. Um
Hmm.
and it has like just enough room to where you could have like a screen and then shelves either side of a screen, but not much more than that. It's not super wide.
Hmm.
Um and going out from the wall that would have a screen, there's this like weird bump made out of brick. It's not like it is just like a square bump, but it like it bumps up, and it would be kind of nice to have like if you just padded it, it would be like a really nice lounge kind of seating
Mm.
arrangement. It's not like you're going to be sitting up proper watching it, like you're going to be leaned the fuck back. But and then it has another upwards, like almost making a shelf near the ceiling area that I think if you put padding up there, it could just be like you kind of go up there to fall asleep to whatever's happening on screen as opposed to actually wanting to watch it. And it's like I
That's
really hope it would come together like that. It looks like it would be
that's
so
super
fucking
cute.
comfortable.
With like a solid like YouTube player on there, it'd be so cute if there was like if you guys fell asleep to like infomercial compilations, just you know, as God intended
Yeah.
from the traditions of cable TV. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I hope. And then I get we would store like, party stuff in there. I don't know. I don't know what all we all hope to use the basement for. I would really like it to be kind of like a game media floor almost entirely.
I actually okay. I actually have a specific question for listeners and hosts alike. Like in terms of okay, outside of storage, and if there's someone who has to live in there because there's not enough rooms for everybody in the rest of the house, if you live in like a group setting, what do you do with the basement specifically? Because I feel like that's maybe the most outside of those two purposes. If you do have room for anything else, that's the most like everybody thinks a different thing about it sort of place in the house.
Yeah. It's like for me, basement would be like entertainment and like where you go to like if you're gonna have a raucous time, you're gonna be
Hmm.
loud. Go into the basement. Here's our party room. We also do have like another offshoot room that might be good as like a kind of workshop, but we also we have like a shed. So I don't know if eventually like shed slash garage is gonna become a workspace. Depends on how things go.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones that come to mind are if someone wants to set up a home theater, or if they want to set up, like you said, a shop, a tabletop space, a I can think, like the vague idea of a man cave, is that's the place you'd probably put it. But yeah, I want to kind of hear like creative solutions to that beyond that. Liz says, I mean, depends on if you're able to finish the basement at all, especially depending on the age of the house. That's an important point. But if you just have like some kind of even modest, expansive room, beyond just the size of like a closet in your basement, where there's again no storage and nobody's like living space, what would you do with a just I guess like just what do you do with like a somewhat soundproofed, little secluded area, like room of your house that nothing else belongs to. I think that's a very creative and fun idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to put a pool table down there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I
I won't
think
be able to deal with the garage situation for a while. Looks like it'll be expensive. Yeah. So
yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I mean, even doing anything in the actual basement is going to be a long time.
Most
Yeah.
basements should have some kind of like compactable either pool table or ping pong table. Something that can fold up so you can do other shit with the space, but that is always there.
No, I want a pool table that converts into an actual table. Like you just have like a fucking just a piece of wood that you just place on it or something.
It makes me it makes me think of people eating dinner at like a pool table and trying desperately not to get wet and stuff onto like the felt, so it's like impossible to clean.
Yeah, I mean, you would want the cover on there so you're not dodging all the pool balls the entire time you
Right.
eat.
Though
But
what I would love, what I think would be awesome is
I feel
if
like
you have
you
like,
just steamrolled my joke of people actively
oh, I'm
playing
sorry.
pool on the table that people are eating on.
Well, no, because I do have a yes and for it, because I think this is a cute idea.
Okay.
So you have a pool table, and I'm sorry for steamrolling, but you have a pool table and like an acrylic cover over it, to where it's like you can see through it, very clearly, and that surface is intended for dinner table stuff. But then there's like cut out holes beside where each person would put their food, where you can like, oh, if there's a pool ball that comes by there underneath the acrylic, you get to just put your hand down there and just hit it towards somebody else. So you got a fidget thing, you got an auditory satisfaction, and you get to
No, no.
play a really half-assed
Here's
game of
how it
pool.
should be. It's
No.
foosball, and so you have
Yo.
two people sitting on either end, and either they get up to play, or just two other people are playing while they're eating.
I love the thought of like the intent is that this becomes like we're doing something while we're chill. Maybe this is like, hey, ruckus. But like every so often, like people get irate. People lose their fucking shit over like that was a you fucked me and I'm not gonna have it. And like, dishes are thrown or toppled. Like, the table's too heavy to
Fucking
flip.
air hockey below there.
Oh no, no, no! But the hole in the table would work really very well for air hockey.
It
But
would.
yeah, I would love it to either be air hockey or foosball. That'd be perfect. And then it's
Yeah.
people trying to take a bite, but they keep getting poked in the stomach by their fucking
People set up ping pong
foosball.
on it, and they're trying to take a bite, and they just get the ping pong ball in their mouth.
Oh, it'd be.
It's
I
a
don't know
foul.
how you would act. I don't know how you'd actually set this up, but a way that you could adjust the pool version of this is if kind of like with ping pong tables where you have like the springy thing where like it shoots the ball up. That is your miniature pool cue. I don't think it would work out that well, but it is an it is an idea. God, what could go underneath that acrylic? Oh, I want to think hard on this one. We can do that between episodes. Beautiful.
We'll come back next week and talk about it during the game.
Yeah, and also Liz says, also I love that I was planning on driving to the house during the second part of the episode today, and I totally haven't.
Yeah, I did notice
and that's
that.
your prerogative. Yeah, you didn't get to
I
go
was
under the
like,
radar with that one, did you?
Liz has been distracted.
Yeah, a fun shit.
I did get a deep fryer yesterday. It was completely off topic of anything. I got a deep fryer yesterday.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like, I'm thinking, depending on the size of the deep fryer, Ashley gets a frozen chicken for the 4th of July.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Don't
fucking. I'm gonna destroy the house.
Please do not do that if you don't know not to do that. Anyone listening in the future.
Steve told
Good
me
God.
to.
No! The entire eastern seaboard. Just like there's like 5 fucking people who burned down their houses in unison. No, but how big is the fucking deep fryer that you got?
Oh gosh, it's like uh, damn, I gotta look it up, right? Because I can't remember, because there was one I wanted, but this one was a little bit cheaper and less big. So let me see. How do I view, because like I paid for it through my Walmart account. So like purchase history, there we go. There it is. How big is this deep fryer? Oh, come on. Tell me.
I'm still thinking you burn your house down with frozen chicken.
Almost 3 quarts for oil capacity. 8-quart water capacity.
Yeah. 3 quarts deep fryer. I'm just like searching in images because I don't know the quantifiable stuff here. I don't know deep fryers very well.
I mean, quart is just an actual measurement. You don't need to know deep fryers.
I'm searching deep fryer because this is the format where it's, but like because like I don't very well. Yeah, that'll just barely, depending on the shape, fit a frozen chicken. You can go ahead and try that. But
okay,
yeah,
I'll
so
do that.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna drop an entire frozen chicken in there.
And then after that, if you have a deep fryer left,
no, I would die.
This is someone who is buying a toaster just to take a lovely bath.
Look, if I burn the house down, I'm going with it because I can't take the shame.
It's a really funny story to go out on too, but I do want to know what you are planning on doing with it.
So like this morning, I used it to heat up my dino nuggets, which was great. No, they tasted fucking great. I really liked them.
I also think of those as a frozen food.
I did like let them thaw a little bit, so it's not just a ton of ice going in there. I also put it in when it was a little bit less warm, so it didn't like explode. But no, I'm probably after we get off the stream, I'm gonna go make some fries. Actually, wait, no, I have to wait until Liz gets here because we don't have salt at the house, so Liz is bringing me salt.
So you're gonna have a heated argument near the deep fryer.
So I got some shrimp. So I want to fry some shrimp. I've gotten pizza rolls that I think are going to be great fried. I guess I got the dino nuggets. Okay. Just some regular French fries. I have some waffle fries and some shoestring fries. Also, like, I've been scammed out of making my own fries for so fucking long. Like, or, well, not scammed out of it. I was scammed into it because it's like, oh, I'm making them by hand, and it's like, they're not as good if you just fry the frozen ones.
For the stuff that you're gonna, like, fry, I'm wondering, like, what is your intended ratio of stuff that is breaded versus stuff that you're just tossing in there?
I'm not 100%. I know one thing I'm doing. I have some wheat tortillas that I'm gonna fry. Maybe that's what I'm gonna do when we get off call. And like those, like they don't get as crispy as like tortilla chips you buy in a bag. But I think that's actually better because they hold a little bit more of the oil, which I mean, you know, whatever for your health reasons. But fuck that. They taste amazing.
For me. Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Fuck, I don't remember. If I were you, with a deep fryer right in front of me, I would make my own potato chips and like see what kind of thickness I like.
See, like, if I had a less tedious way to make the chips. If I had one of those like potato cutters that just like does it, you just like pull down a lever, now you have a whole potato's worth of chips. Also, let me tell you, there's only two ways that like, or no, I'm framing this wrong. It is weird how like eating an entire potato feels so wrong unless you have it in chips or fries. But like a
I'm sorry,
whole
that's where we
potato,
part.
it's just
That
is
because
like
if
that's a lot.
I'm not gonna have a raw fucking potato, but I am going to like I l- I one of my favorite snacks. It's not a snack at that point. It is, that is a bit more than a snack. But one of my favorite just like handheld things to eat is just like a baked or boiled whole potato. You know, usually boiled. That's what I grew up with. But yeah, just like a boiled potato to where it's like, just like soft enough to eat like an apple. I'm very
I
satisfied
didn't
by
say
that.
I was against this. I'm saying how most people view it is like
Mm.
just eating an entire potato is a little bit weird.
I will say the weird thing from like I will admit that this part is weird. I don't need it to be salted, just boiled.
Yeah,
I'm
because
like
you're a
I like
fucking freak.
no, but
No,
here's the thing.
no,
The
no,
difference
no,
between
no, no, no. I'm not letting you defend yourself. Fucking freak.
no, hold on. So this is so there. Here's the difference between this and the eggs thing. I'm totally like I'll salt the potato, but like if I don't feel like taking that like quarter of a thought of an extra piece of effort, I will happily eat it without the salt. But like I'll salt the potato and it's fine. Like it's different than with eggs.
Do you wait? Okay, so I need you to paint me a picture here. You
Yes.
you you just do you just put a potato in and then take it out and eat it and nothing else? That's the entire process.
Like I would probably do it with a number of them because I live with more than just me. But yeah, I would just put the potatoes in the boiling water and wait until and wait until I put a fork in and it's pretty uniformly, like reasonably soft the whole way through, and then I put it in my bowl and either I put some butter on there or I don't. Either I put some salt on there or I don't, maybe some garlic or I don't. And it's like equally possible either way for any one of those ingredients or all of them.
So you're telling me that there has been occasions
Yes.
where you get a potato out
Yeah.
and just nothing.
I think that is a perfectly fun and tasty meal, and I have enjoyed it on occasion.
So that's our show.
Like this has been
Thanks for
normal for
coming.
thousands of years. Like
So
I'm
we
not weird on this one.
so thank you for coming to our show.
Sorry, our ancestors.
We're okay. I'll just put you on mute anyway. Um, so next week we're gonna be on Twitch. Hope to see you there, and then we'll be back with Thought Bubble again here in 2 weeks' time.